Guy Live. We're here.
We're here. We're back. I'm back. You were here last time, but I'm
here. And Jamie, guess what's happened? My headphones are freaking out on me, and I can't hear a damn thing right now. I can see you reacting. But in the meantime, let's react to some super chats while I get this going. I'm going to be sort of clicking those on while I try and figure this out. So bear with me, everyone. Jamie, go ahead. I'm going to just start clicking randomly. Okay.
What we got? ID case first. Not quite, but yeah. Good stuff. The dumb guys. We are the dumb guys. A Portuguese friend, as always, in the live chat. We love to see it. Dumb guys, yeah. We are the dumb guys. That's right. We're back. Hello, dumb guys. Hello, Cookie the Goat. Thank you for being here.
I think we're good.
We're good.
Yay.
That's tremendous.
Let me make sure that my actual mic. Yes. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that, everybody. Gosh, dang it. Yeah, we're here. We're freaking live on Dumb Guy Live. And we're going to do the show. And we're going to do the podcast. We're the only Puro and Lucha podcast in the world. And that is that. Murph couldn't make it today. He had to do some final promotions for the Barbie movie this weekend. So he's been doing that all, in Malibu, at the Dream House. I'm hoping he brings us back some pink merch or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys being here in the meantime. Wow, I would love this. This is so good. Yeah, we are live. $9.99 super chat from 6. We love you, 6. Poi Tribe up, Dumb Guys Live. Jamie, this was the match I forgot to watch. I forgot to watch Hashimoto versus Natsupoi. I'm sure it was great. I'm sure it was great. Yeah. We'll talk about we'll get into Natsupoi in a little bit because we're going to be previewing the 5-star. But we have a huge show ahead of us going in to talk about a ton. It is the busiest time outside of maybe Wrestle Kingdom week in Japanese professional wrestling right now. We have the G1 has started. We have the Stardom 5-star GP this weekend. We have got DDT Wrestle Peter Pan this weekend. We just had maybe the best match in Japan all year this past weekend, right? We got tournaments going on in TJPW and Dragon Gate and stuff all over. And it's going great. It's going great. We have a new Ice Ribbon champion that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, there's so much going on. But Jamie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back. I was obviously away in Spain last week. I caught the last couple of minutes, maybe Beast of the Week, on my phone in my echoey bathroom, and I was very burnt. It was so hot over there. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm back just in time, like you said, for a very, very busy period of wrestling. Probably, you compared it to like Wrestle Kingdom time. Probably busier in terms of like sheer volume of shows, right? With all the tournaments and stuff. So it's pretty crazy, and yeah, very excited to break it all down. Got some reviews and previews coming up, so should be a good one.
If y'all would do me a favor, our loyal fans and viewers, if y'all would share out the link and like the video, those are the two biggest things. I know most of y'all are already subscribed. We love that. We appreciate that. But if you would do those two things, we're really trying to up the viewership here and get things going. It means a lot when number go up. It feels good. So yeah. We're gonna keep that up. But we love you all. We love we love our loyal 15 to 20 people who we see literally every week. I don't know about you, Jamie. That's like pretty mind blowing to me that there's like dozens of people.
It's like people are ready every week. We got our core audience that are it's part of their weekly routine. That's good stuff.
I think that's awesome. We have a $3 super chat from DN Maz Kento Nakajima. Rah! I agree.
Indeed.
I agree. We will get into that in a little bit, but we appreciate the preview there. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to start with Stardom, Jamie. And I am going to run through the blocks really quickly. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about just general trends, stories, big storylines coming in. Maybe we're going to pick our winners. We're going to pick anticipated matches, some dark horses, and then we'll preview this first weekend of shows. How's that sound?
That sounds tremendous.
Okay, let's do it. This is the best lineup for the 5-star ever, in my opinion. Red Stars block. This is this is a weird order on Wikipedia, but it's Ami Sourei, Natsuko Tora, Hazuki, Natsupoi, shout out 6, Starlight Kid, Suzu Suzuki, Shuri, Saya Kamitani, Mayu Iwatani, and Tam Nakano. And then in the Blue Stars block, we have somebody who will be wrestling on ROH in 2 days. Utami Hayashishida, Hanan, Mariah May, Julia, Mina Shirakawa, Azumi, Mirai, Momo Watanabe, Saori Ano, and Maika closing out that block. It's a smaller field compared to last year. Last year was 26. If y'all recall, that was so many matches. It was like 140 some matches or something like that. It was just preposterous. It was awesome, but it was preposterous. Oh, yeah. So this year we have a much more streamlined, cut the fat a little bit. Only the 20. I would say this is the 20 most pushed. These are the 20 most pushed wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah, I would agree. It's kind of crazy, seeing the lineup reveal. You talk about last year, and I think it was a 26 woman lineup last year.
26.
And, the roster's only got bigger and more stacked, so they've had to make some tougher missions in there. If you think of like Koguma,
Koguma was a tough one.
And tag team champion.
Saki Kashima.
Like yeah, the current high speed champion. There's a few others. Tekla's not in there. Mai Sakurai, they're both 2/3 of the trios champions. So there's some tougher missions, but I think overall you kind of get the absolute best in quality there. And I think pretty much when you compare it to the G1, which obviously we're going to get to, but top end G1 is like, it's some of the best stuff you'll see. But there's definitely a lot of fluff in there, which we'll obviously get to as well. Whereas this is just like 100% all killer. So it's a really great lineup.
I'm stoked. Let's get into the Red Stars block here. I think, actually, let's start with the Blue Stars block, because I think there's a pretty consistent choice for winner out of this block that a lot of people are picking, and that is Utami Hayashishida. What's kind of the story behind people's selection there?
So Utami Hayashishida, obviously, in 2021 had that red belt for the entire year, super dominant, and then since dropping that belt hasn't really done a great deal in terms of so kind of like top card stuff. Not really any really championship success. She did officially become the leader of Queen's Quest, and that plays in big into the story heading into this, because obviously we had the tension with Saya Kamitani, and then we had the cage match where a lot of people thought one of those two is going to be leaving Queen's Quest. They obviously, pulled together, and now they look stronger than ever. But then shortly after that, Utami Hayashishida said she's still not quite content with her place. So she went to find herself, so obviously going to GCW and now Ring of Honor, doing some stuff in America, and she's undefeated over there, at least in the GCW stuff I've not seen. I imagine she beats Trish Adora. So, she's doing well. Whereas on the Queen's Quest side of things, they're having a pretty rough run of it. So they're kind of setting up Utami as being like, they're kind of a bit nothing without her. And she's going on a real tear. So I feel like coming back to Japan, she's set up to go straight back up into that main event picture. I think, like you said, looking at that Blue Stars block, I think she's a clear runaway favourite. So, but I do think there's one or two maybe other shouts that you could throw in. I've seen a lot of people mentioning Maika as someone who, I think if she wasn't in Utami's block, she'd probably be the favourite for the other one. She's obviously got a lot going in there, but I would definitely say Utami's a strong favourite.
Last year was crazy in just how many people were still in it on the final night of block action. There was something like 9 competitors that could have won their block or something. It was just crazy. I would say the 3 that have, I think Utami is a clear favorite, and I think the 2 outside of her that have a legitimate real chance would be Julia and Maika. Julia is she's maybe their top star right now, despite not being the champion. She's one of their most protected wrestlers, and she had a short reign. And it would surprise me a little bit, because I think Utami is the obvious pick, but it wouldn't shock me if she's the one who comes out of this block. And then Maika, aside from really Mirai, since Shuri, which was 3 years ago at this point, Stardom just has not really pushed anybody brand new to to that top level, right?
Mhm.
And so if they wanted to start pulling the trigger on that, I do think their booking has been a bit more inspired this year at points. I still didn't love the Cinderella, of course, but if they wanted to go with someone who is maybe on the verge of having her own stable,
Mhm.
someone who is very very popular, and just a great wrestler too, Maika would not be a bad choice there either.
Mhm.
Let's get into let's talk about Red Stars here. Let's talk about some winners here too, and then we'll get into some matches we're excited about. So for Red Stars, this feels a lot more wide open to
Oh yeah.
me. There's a lot of ways they could go with it, but I would say the most common pick I'm seeing, maybe you have seen things differently, is Saya Kamitani out of this
Yeah.
block, and getting the Utami versus Saya final to
Mhm.
the 5-star GP and sort of culminating that story between the two.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. I think out of that red block, there's kind of two picks that I'm leaning towards, and I'm not sure either way. I think for me, it'll kind of depend on whether they go with Utami or whether they don't. I think if Utami wins her block, which I think everyone's kind of assuming is the direction they're going, I think Saya's pretty much also. I wouldn't say a lock because there's still a few other contenders, but I think it would definitely make the most sense. The other one I'd be looking at is Suzuki, who I think a lot of people have pegged, will have pegged as maybe an outsider for a potential winner of the whole thing. She's someone who even before signing with Stardom, I don't think we ever had like official confirmation that that's the case, but like she signed. Um, so even before that, people have been pegging her as like a future red belt champion. So it wouldn't shock me for Stardom to kind of like go all in pretty quickly into having her on the books. And I think if Maika wins her block, then that also could be a potential final. I feel like they've been setting a few things up there. They're obviously in the mix for this new potential stable. So I feel like if
Mhm.
they both make it to the finals, that could establish both of them pretty quickly as top contenders. But I would definitely lean towards Saya facing Utami in that final. That would be my bet.
Saya and Utami have not faced each other since they wrestled at the Budokan, or sorry, at Sumo Hall, excuse me,
Mhm.
for the white belt championship.
Mhm.
And then and that was the last time. That was over a year ago, so a long time since they have faced each other in singles action. I was on Cage Match finding this. Utami Hayashishita has had like 419 career matches, and Saya Kamitani has been involved in over 180 of them in some fashion. So their careers have been linked from
Yeah.
the very start, getting those pushes together. And of course, they were both. It was essentially right when Utami lost her title, Saya gained hers, and
Mhm.
so there was like a 2-year stretch where people did that. But yeah. So this one feels a bit more open to me. You can't rule out Mayu Iwatani ever.
Of course.
I would throw her in there as well. It won't be Tam, and also like Shuri is extremely protected.
Mhm.
Maybe one of the 3 most protected wrestlers on the roster. So she would have to lose a couple to not
Mhm.
make it to the finals. I also do think. I mean, it might feel like going to the well a little bit too much to this one, but Utami versus Shuri is still maybe the most notable match in promotion history, and you can always return to that for the finals of an epic tournament like this. So, to me, I'm not locked in on Saya for the Red Stars block. I don't know, it
Mhm.
just doesn't feel like that to me. I can't really put my finger on why. Maybe it's just because she's just been kind of quiet this year after
Mhm.
losing the white belt, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I think you make a good point about Shuri being so protected. I think it's interesting with the kind of they've cut a few people out this year's tournament, cut it down to 10 a block. You don't have the likes of Saki Kashima, Koguma, even like a Fujigen
You don't
Becky.
have the
Like
pin
typically
stealers, yeah.
your spoilers, right? You can get a quick
Mhm,
roll up. They won't win many, but they'll pin a Mayu or a Shuri, and that'll
mhm.
kind of even out the points. We don't have that, so there's going to have to be a few tough booking choices. You have to put some people over. I'm sure Rossi will go with some draws as he always does in certain matches. The Rossi Ogawa special, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of navigate that and end up wherever they eventually want to go. But I think with the blocks we've got, it's certainly going to be exciting either way.
Couple super chats really quickly. This was from 6 star $1.99. Natsupoi Shuri is my dark horse match of the year. I love that. Natsupoi, sure. I mean, that'll be hard hitting as hell. It's a match we haven't seen a ton, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Absolutely. Former for a brief period of time, DDM stablemates. Then actually it wasn't even that brief, was it? They were stablemates for quite a long time.
The original 5. They were on the tape quite a while there.
We also have Custodian BPJ still licking his wounds after being cut last week. But best friends, Hart, if you're ever in Orlando, let me know. We will BPJ. Yeah. Ironically, that literally is where Murph is. Like I'm not even kidding. That is shoot where Murph is right now. So maybe go find him, Custodian BPJ. And then my old pal Regal with the profile picture. P, my sexy little beef Wellington, Jamie, Mr.
Oh, Regal.
Oh, thank you, Regal.
I've missed Regal too. I feel like we've not been seeing Regal a ton over the past few episodes. You know, he's a regular around here. I like seeing Regal back amongst the super chats and the live chat.
He was back on the flagship show that I did last week, the Thursday show. Right. But I think that was his first appearance in a long time. So I appreciate Regal. I like paying $2 to make me throw that profile picture on the screen is pretty funny. I do like the bit there. So throwing it back to Six's super chat about Natsupoi and Shuri. Jamie, let's get into some of our most anticipated matches. I'm gonna kick things off. The most obviously everybody's most anticipated match, or not everybody, but the match that everybody has penciled in is it's on the final night, right? Utami Hayashishita versus Julia. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the match. It's been completely protected from us. We've got almost they have been kept apart for so long, and we're finally getting it in block action. It's not even going to be the finals of the tournament. That's what people thought it was going to be last year, but we're getting it in block action. What do you think?
Oh, it's going to be tremendous. Like you said, it's a first time ever matchup. And these final nights, as is the case with like the opener night as well, Stardom always try and like stack them pretty heavy. I remember last year one had a lot of heavy hitters, but it's like you can make a case for these two being the two best women's wrestlers in the world. There's a lot of women in this tournament that are like amongst that conversation, right? You talk about Tam and Mayu and Shuri and stuff like that. But I think you wouldn't have too many people arguing that these two are like possibly 1 and 2 on that list, and it's going to be incredible. And I think I believe the time limit is a 20-minute time limit, or is it down to 15? I believe it's 20.
I want to say it's 15. I could be wrong there.
Yeah, something like that. So
someone in the chat will tell us.
This match will probably be incredible, as everyone like expects it to be. And even then, I think it's still going to be a taste of an eventual like singles title match that we're going to get with these two down the line. And that's possibly the most exciting thing. Is like as good as this match might be, it could only even just be a preview of what they've got to show.
So let me go over this. This final night of block action just to illustrate how good it's like crazy. The first couple of matches are just okay. Mariah May versus Hanan, Hazuki versus Natsuko Tora. That's probably a pretty decent indication that none of those four are going to be in contention on the final night. A little disappointing about Hazuki, but she got a white belt match this year. I don't think a lot of people really expected her to contend. It starts getting great. Like literally any of these matches could main event a 5-star show the next date. Momo Watanabe versus Azumi. They were former tag. Were they tag champs ever? I guess maybe not, but they were.
I don't think they ever held the belt.
Maybe they won tag league. I want to say. Yeah. But so that's a rivalry. Shuri versus Ami Sourei, stablemates, right? Sourei is Shuri's heater. Mirai versus Micah. I mean, these are two people who have held very similar places in Stardom's future standing right now. Saya Kamitani versus Suzu Suzuki, super fresh matchup. Mina Shirakawa versus Saori Ano. Like these are two wrestlers who would not have been in conversation of being, highlights of this tournament. One, because Ano wasn't even on Stardom's radar a year ago, and Mina Shirakawa has improved so much. This match all of a sudden is like must see. Tam versus Natsupoi, right? We're getting Meltier exploding here on the final night. Not to mention, but the red belt champion as well. Yeah. Mayu Iwatani versus Starlight Kid, which is one of the most consistently great rivalries in all of wrestling. and then main evented by Julia versus Utami Hayashishita. It is an incredible show.
Talk about stats, man.
And that's not, not to mention we're going to get the finals after all that. So God.
I wouldn't. You mentioned there, and I'm not saying like Hana or Mariah May are going to make it to the finals or anything, but you mentioned like the earlier matches kind of ruling out a few people. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case. I remember a few times where one of the finalists is on fairly early in the show and the other one's a little bit later. So I wouldn't say it's totally ruled.
The order that I just read, that's not the actual order. That's I just sort of arbitrarily chose. They haven't posted the order for that. I just sort of did it in order of what I thought was least important to most important. But yeah, so an incredible show. Show. I mean, Ultimate Bulldog says it right here. Show of the year potential. I completely agree. But what else are we looking for? We talked about that show. What else success to you? Anything off the top of your head? Because I do have a couple.
I'm just like getting the blocks up, so I'm not not getting my.
No, you're good. So for me, Tam versus Saya, they have electric chemistry together, and they're two of my favorites in the promotion. So I always look forward to that match. In terms of relatively fresh stuff that I haven't seen a ton, a couple matches for Suzu Suzuki, the Starlight Kid match and the Shuri match both stand out to me for Suzu for different reasons, because Suzu does a good job. She does a good job of mixing some high speed stuff with some really hard hitting stuff as well, and I think both of those wrestlers complement the two sides of that.
Yeah, just taking a look there, that blue block. I think Soriano is going to have a really great tournament. I'm pretty sure she's in the opening night with Julia, right? Which is a pretty exciting matchup. That should be definitely one of the best matches as well. It's hard to say that's going to be one of the best matches of the tournament
because there's so many.
It's a bit harder to pinpoint those, and there's going to be a few probably a surprise matches as well that kind of exceed expectations. But yeah, there's just a ton of great stuff. Utami and Micah are always incredible in the ring. I mean, they've got amazing chemistry. I'm almost like kind of annoyed that they're in the same block, because I was really rooting for Micah to at least make it to a finals, and I just think it's going to be tough. I think Utami's such a strong favorite there that I think it'd be pretty surprising for it to make it. But either way, the match should be amazing. And yeah, there's so many to pick from. It's hard to like nail down any, but I can't think of many pairings there that I would wouldn't be too keen on seeing. You know what I mean? So it's just such a stacked show tournament in terms of quality.
Well, let's get into. And by the way, I'm going for the Red Stars in this one. Both the blocks are great. I love that Red Stars block. Like I think it's so good. It's literally just Tora in that block of wrestlers who I'm not like thrilled about. Everybody else, I'm just a big time fan of. So the matchups are crazy. It's just unbelievable. So okay, let's get into some predictions here. Final choices: who's going to win the blocks, and then who's going to win the overall tournament.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty safe in saying that Utami Hayashishita will be winning the blue block, and red block is tough. I'm between Suzu and Saya, but I think I'm going to lean towards Saya just because it's kind of set up with the Queen's Quest stuff, and it'll play more into the tension that's been between them. And I think it could even potentially reignite the kind of initial thoughts we had of one of them leaving, but probably more Utami breaking away and maybe starting that new faction. But yeah, I'm going to say Utami and Saya Kamatani, and then overall the winner, I'm going to say will be Utami Hayashishita.
We are in agreement. We both think Utami Hayashishita is going to win this tournament. I'm going to go with Shuri out of the Red Stars block. I just think it's a great. Sometimes you book to make it someone where you're like, oh, this could go either way in the finals, and sometimes you book a great match or a great final conqueror, right? Or I just think to like the N1 last year where it was Hideki Suzuki who was the final guy that Kaito had to beat to win, right? Stuff like that. Jeff Cobb, he didn't make it to the finals, but he was Okada's final obstacle a couple years ago, right? And for that reason, I just think Shuri, and with their history, is just a great final opponent, just like Tam was for Julia last year. That final boss that you didn't expect to fight, to get to the end of the 5-star. I think Shuri makes a ton of sense there. So yeah, but there's like literally 6 of the people in the block. I'd be like, yeah, that's chill. That's chill with me. Let's go with that. Yeah. But yes, I do. We are in agreement. Utami will be the 5-star GP champion. Quick super chat from Matt B. Who will be the female wrestler of the year and why? No standouts, IMO. I disagree. I think, well, first of all, I think on a match by match basis, even though she's injured right now, Mercedes has been as good as anybody. But for me, it's head and shoulders Julia right now. I think she's been, when you combine the title matches with everything else that she's done, I think she's just been a cut above. And that's, that's not like everybody else in Stardom is bad. She's just been that good.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough to call, and I think it's kind of good time that we've been asked this question. As we're on the topic of the 5-star, because in recent years the 5-stars kind of decided a lot of this for me. I mean, it's pretty packed. We've looked at that schedule and the women in it, and there's going to be so many high profile matches that there's going to be a few standouts that kind of run away from the pack. If Julia goes on like a tear and has like some insane matches, then I think she'll kind of cement her case. Where you could see Utami kind of pick up a women's wrestler of the year case. But there's a few others. Outside of that, maybe in America, I would say Athena's in with a shout. I think she's been doing some real great stuff in Ring of Honor. But yeah, I think it's there aren't too many like runaway candidates at the moment, but I definitely think the 5-star will be a big factor in deciding.
Yeah, I could see some, it's going to be tough. Like Utami, I just feel like she just really hasn't done that much, like outside of so far this year. And it's just when you have half a year where you don't do all that much aside from the cage match, where she was a big part of it, obviously, but that's 9 other people in that match, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going Julia, and I'd be a little surprised if anybody knocked her off the pedestal for me this year, but you never know. This has the potential to be, honestly, and it's crazy to say this, but on paper, this should be the best women's round robin tournament in like wrestling history. And so, yeah, I'm stoked. All right. Last thing we're going to do, let's preview the show this weekend, shall we? I have it open in front of me. We have Stardom 5-star GP day 1. This is from, I believe, the Yokohama Budokan or Ota Ward, something like that. It's from one of those shows. It's one of those like 1500-ish, 2000-ish buildings. But this is the lineup. I don't know if this is in order. I don't know if the order has been posted. Stardom's kind of wishy-washy about match order, but here's the lineup. I'll stop when it gets to something interesting. I think the first 3 are kind of just okay. Azumi versus Mariah May, Natsuko Tora versus Ami Sourei, Maika versus Hanan. I mean, that'll be interesting. Hanan is being pushed a little bit more. She's the she's not the most surprising isn't the right way to put it, but in terms of like kayfabe standing, she's easily the lowest ranked out of anybody in the tournament. So it's valuable that they, it's notable that they put her in there.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Now I was just gonna say I was quite happy to see her make it in there. I think there was a few other people who were like I said, higher in like kayfabe standings, but I think there's been a lot of talk like Hanan as like one of the future top stars of the company down the line. So I think as you're building towards that, it's good to get her in these environments and get her wrestling against all the top women in the company. So I think it's a good choice. All
right, got some great stuff coming up here. Natsupoi versus Starlight Kid. Two wrestlers on the smaller side. They'll wrestle fast. They'll do some crazy athletic stuff. This was oh no, I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, they have great chemistry. Mirai versus Momo Watanabe should be incredibly hard hitting. Would not shock me to see Momo pick up a win here and be a future white belt challenger. Yep, that's always in the cards for Momo. Night 1, Shuri versus Suzu. I mean, that would be a crazy way to start off the tournament for Suzu Suzuki to get a big win over Shuri, who probably outside of Mayu Iwatani is the most protected wrestler on the roster in terms of just taking losses. Julia versus Sariano is crazy. Like, they have a ton of history. Julia challenged for Ano's Actress Girls Championship 4 years ago this weekend and failed in a different world when Actress Girls was actually kind of good. So that's bringing things full circle.
I love that matchup because like Julia's very brief red belt reign kind of had a lot of ice ribbon crossover.
Yeah.
And I think obviously she's no longer the champion, but it's nice that that's still kind of creeping up on her even in the 5-star. So it's a nice little opener.
Intra-stable battle here with Mayu Iwatani versus Hazuki. This is like, it's weird to say this about these two, but this is like a dark horse matchup for me. Like this could be the best match of the night. They just like they'll just beat the shit out of each other, right? Utami versus Mina Shirakawa is a big one. It would not surprise me here to see Mina actually get the win. Just to set up Utami having to overcome the odds a little bit as we go through the tournament. And then Tam versus Saya, one of my most anticipated matches. I'm hoping it's the main event. That would be my pick for the main event. And it wouldn't shock me for Saya to get the win here either. Set up a red belt match potentially. So we'll see. Okay. What a show. I'm so excited. I assume this is a pay-per-view, Jamie, right?
Yeah, I believe the openers and the final.
Oh.
Did I cut
Did you cut off? Yeah, you cut out a little bit.
My back. Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say I think the opener and the final nights are pretty much always pay-per-views for these things. So yeah.
I am so fucking fired up for this tournament. Like, just I love that they trimmed the fat. I love that they just narrowed it down to their 20 most, most push wrestlers. Their 20 wrestlers that they're the highest on right now, and they're like, no, this is what it's going to be. This is going to be our tournament, and we're I love Momo Kogo. I don't need to see 12 Momo Kogo singles matches. I love Koguma. But the way they book her, she's just kind of a comedy geek a little bit, and I don't need to see that. You know what? I want to see a random Red Stars match. Let me pick two names at random. Okay, I pick Hazuki and Shuri. Yep, sounds good to me. That sounds good to me. All right, so yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Any final thoughts on the 5-star? Should we move on to the G1?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. Just like echoing what you said before, it should be possibly the best women's round robin tournament of all time. I think with that lineup, it should be that pretty clearly. And yeah, it's just exciting times.
$1.99 super chat as we transition into the G1. Seated, this is Mass Fan 84. Seated for the Dumb Guy Live Hinare Nichols review. Oh yes, we will get into that. Okay, we're not going to go in depth on every match here, guys. We're going to sort of pick and choose a little bit, but I will talk about every result. So day one, Yoshihashi, this was block A and block B. Yoshihashi versus El Phantasmo. Yoshihashi won with a crucifix driver, which is a new finisher. So he's got something new there. Gabe Kidd versus Chase Owens. They're pushing the War Dogs as like insane, crazy people. Gabe attacked Owens and beat the shit out of him before the match and then lost in a really short amount of time with the package pile driver. I thought this sucked. I thought this was like terrible.
I like, I'm pretty high on Gabe Kidd. I think he's got a lot of potential.
I do too.
I love the beatdown. He had like he had a bit of a Kurt Angle like moment where he dived off the ramp. It was like very reminiscent of that one angle.
Yeah, that one spot.
Yeah, but it's Chase Owens getting a win over a guy that
who could possibly care.
Yeah. I mean, I think you pointed out as well with in the group chat, Ibu's kind of like he was stressing. He was like, "Oh, they're not gonna get any wins." But this is kind of like what they do. They're gonna give.
They always give the jobbers wins on the first night to set them up as like threats or whatever. Kenta versus Tonga. This might be another example of this. Kenta versus Tonga Loa. This also sucked, in my opinion. Kenta just doesn't do anything interesting anymore. He just stalls and stalls. I'm actually kind of holding out hope for Tonga Loa a little bit. I'm a believer in God, and Tama Tonga has been great over the last year, in my opinion. So I think we'll see. He's obviously not setting the world on fire or anything, but Loa won in his first match back in over a year with the ape shit.
Yeah, Tonga Loa. I'm pretty high on God too. I love them. Obviously, Tama Tonga is kind of like the standout guy there, but I don't know that the first two matches I've seen of Tonga Loa, I'm a little worried for him. He's obviously coming back off a long-term injury, and he's breathing pretty heavy. He's looking quite tired in there. I don't know whether throwing him into a grueling G1 schedule was the best possible move, but we'll see. It's early days.
Yeah. Shota Umino versus Ren Narita. This was the first really good match of the tournament. They went to a time limit draw. Obviously, their careers have been completely intertwined from the very start. They came in together. Lots of callbacks. They both used their finishers from when they were young lions, which was really fun. And I just thought the action was really great. And it also established the new 20-minute time limit early on, which you kind of need to do to make us actually think that it'll go to a time limit. I thought this was really good.
Yeah, I like this match too. They're obviously kind of setting up the Musketeers to kind. I think they're all going to go to draws with each other. We saw it again with another one later on, which makes sense. If you're pushing these guys as the next, three of the future, then you want to kind of have them on equal pegging with each other. But I wouldn't mind maybe one surprise win there. But I can see what they're going for. The only other thing I'd say is with Ren Narita, he was the guy who I was like most high on, like whilst they were all kind of like out on excursion. Maybe just because his stuff was more accessible to me, because I'm not really like watching Rev Pro like that and stuff. But I would say I'd like to see him, be a bit more intense with his strikes, for a few more kicks in. He's kind of like he's like the Shibata guy, right? But he's kind of stylistically he's not kind of hitting all those points for me at the moment. But it's very early days and they're all developing, and the early signs are very promising for all three.
Kazuchika Okada defeated Great Okan with the Rainmaker. Not much to say here, I'd say. Kaito Kiyomiya versus Yota Tsuji. We get our first taste of Kaito in this tournament. He won with the Shining Wizard. He beat Tsuji clean. Tsuji still hits spectacular moves. He still has just an incredible create a wrestler move set. I thought this was a ton of fun, and big first win for Kaito. Yeah,
again, another one I really enjoyed, which has been the theme of all the young guys in this tournament so far. And yes, Tsuji, man, he's got such an exciting move. So I think you've made the comparison a few times, like to a creator wrestler.
Yeah,
and that's a line, by the way, that I've included. I'm working on a Three Musketeers YouTube video that will be coming at some point, and I've kind of included that when I talk about Tsuji, because I think it was so on point. He's just like he's throwing he's doing super kicks and
he's just like the cool shit wrestler. He's just
crowd.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and he just looks like a star too. Like he's got it in terms of the charisma and that star quality. And then obviously Kaito Kiyomiya, who is another kind of young rising star in Japan, but he's a bit further ahead in the development. Like he's held Noah's world title a few times.
Right, so he was champion for a year, and he's won the N1.
Yeah. So and he's obviously kind of I think everyone's predicting him to make it out the block, because he's got to get to that Okada match.
He's feuding with the top guy, so yeah. Ospreay versus Taichi. Taichi won with the Black Mephisto. Ospreay was selling the effects of the Omega match a bit. He had a brief selling moment in the middle here where he couldn't do anything because his equilibrium was off. It was kind of goofy, but I kind of liked it too. But this had the great fast-paced closing stretch that you would expect from these two, just hard hitting and all that type of stuff. I didn't think it was quite as great as their 2020 match, which I thought was incredible, like the best match of Taichi's career. But this was really good. This was my pick for the best match of the first night.
Yeah, I love this too. I think earlier it kind of it built up for a little bit, but then that, like you said, that final stretch was really really exciting. And obviously Taichi getting the win. One, it kind of sets up Ospreay to pick up more points later on. I think he's another favourite to make it out of his block. And also it kind of gives Taichi a shot at the US belt, which I think is, like I said, with the chemistry those two have got.
Main eventing a show, that could be a really good match.
Yeah. So that's one for down the line. And Taichi's got a little story of his own going into this G1, because he's obviously, he's mentioned he wants to face Sanada. Is just 5 guys stablemate for that IWGP belt. So yeah, we'll see how it goes for Taichi. But I enjoyed that one.
Then in the main event, Sanada conquered Hikuleo, the IWGP champion, beat the big man. This is actually a little bit better than I expected. There weren't any botches or anything. And I was glad the match was nice and concise, didn't go long or anything. Sanada got the clean win with the dead fall. This was a success for me.
Yeah, it was just inoffensive. This match as well, because obviously on the same day was the Noah One Night Dream show, which we're going to get to that main event shortly. And I was kind of like, I wasn't keeping up too much with what was going on in the show, but I was mindful that I wanted to get to that main event. And I didn't know where they were up to. So I was like, rooting for Sonata to like get this one wrapped up pretty quickly. And thankfully he didn't take too much time with it. But yeah, it was just, inoffensive, good stuff. And a win in the first main event for Sonata.
Night 2, Block C and Block D. David Finlay versus Tomohiro Ishii. This was a strong match, I thought. Good back and forth action. Ishii had an awesome spot here where he had an exploding headbutt, essentially. He just sort of jumped out and did like a shotgun headbutt. It was really sweet. But then Finlay won with the Oblivion.
Yeah, I thought this was good. This is nice, hard hitting stuff. Pretty much exactly what I expected from this one. I've said it like a ton of times that the Finlay is good in ring. His issues are kind of elsewhere in terms of his position, but he's winning me over slowly because I'm liking what he's doing with the War Dogs, and I'm giving him a fair shot. And if he keeps having good matches like this, I think there's a few interesting people in his block that he could have fun stuff with. I think him and like Eddie and Shingo and stuff like that. I mean, even like Aaron Hanare and stuff like that. After seeing his performance, that they could have some fun stuff there. So I'm willing to give it some more time.
Well, speaking of Finlay, we have a $2 super chat from the man who beat Chris Patton twice strikes back. You think the War Dogs turn on Finlay? I do not. That would. I think if I was booking it, I probably would. I just don't think he's him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like Finlay. I just don't think I think he's just a babyface sort of mid carder. He's not the heel leader of the top heel stable. But no, I think it would reek of them just sort of reversing course and too quickly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that they could do down the line. But yeah, it's very, very early days, and I think it would be kind of redundant to not give it at least a little bit of time. But I do like the idea of kind of them having like no leader and just being like the War Dogs, and it's kind of
I do too.
I think that's a fun dynamic that they could do. But for now, like I said, I'm willing to give Finlay a chance.
He also followed up with another $2 super chat. Also, do you think House of Torture splits from regular Bullet Club soon? This is weird to me because I've seen it on Twitter, but like I thought they already did. Like maybe they didn't like officially, but House of Torture never ever teams up with any other Bullet Club guys. It's always Evil, Yujiro, Sho, and then like Jado. Or no, not Jado. Isn't there like another like Dick Toko? Like who's the other bald old guy? Too small. But yeah, that's it, right? So I don't know. It's just also like who cares? It's fucking House of Torture.
Yeah.
Imagine that the War Dogs versus House of Torture.
Civil War. Another one.
Yeah, this is the Bullet Club Civil War. All right. Thank you so much for the super chats. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
After Finlay, we had Goto versus Yano. This was typical stuff. Goto won with the GTR. There was a mascot involved. Goto is always my favorite Yano match because he's just kind of no-sells it and just beats him. So, yeah, this is simple. Okay, here we go. This match was fucking incredible. Aaron Hanare, who might just be going by Hanare now, I'm not sure. Versus,
I think it might be just Hanare. Hanare all caps, is it?
Yeah, it could be. That would be better than just Hanare, I think. Versus Mikey Nichols of TMDK. What the fuck happened here? So, first of all, Hanare comes out. He's got a completely new look. He's shaved his head, and he's got these Maori indigenous tattoos on his face that obviously hold like cultural. Go ahead.
Mataora, I believe, is the name. I may have butchered the pronunciation, but it's something to that effect.
Yeah, so they hold like cultural significance to him. So I mean, this is the time to do that if you're going to debut a new look like that. G1's a great time to reinvent yourself a bit, and he did present himself as a bit more of like a wild man in this match. And then they're wrestling around. It's pretty good at the start. I'm enjoying it. It's the G1. I'm like, this is all right. I like these guys. And then they just decide to fucking headbutt each other. They just like out of nowhere. They just headbutt the fuck out of each other. Mikey especially hits like really hard shoot headbutts. Like this would not be out of place on like a Big Japan show, like a Fuminori Abe match or something. This was nasty. He busts himself open hard way. on a headbutt, and then they just start beating the shit out of each other for like the next 3 minutes before, at the very end, Nichols pulls him up for an Emerald Flosion, and it literally dumps him vertically on his head. Like the top of Aaron Hanare's head goes straight down into the wood planks underneath the mat. This match was awesome, and this was legitimately my favorite match of the first 2 nights of the G1. I can't believe it, but it absolutely was.
I was like, I've been like speechless, like trying to think about what I'm going to say about this match for like a long time. So like, obviously we're because we talk about the all sorts of puro. So we're obviously like completionists when it comes to this G1 stuff. We're going to try and get through everything. But there's a lot of people who won't be, and they'll wait for the highlights and stuff, or they'll kind of skim through the show and only watch the stuff with the interesting guys in there. So, and all due respect to both of these guys, but if you're one of those people that isn't a completionist, on paper, this is a match that you're probably going to gloss over and kind of not really pay too much attention. But if you did do that, and obviously you may have seen like the reactions and gone back to it, but this is one you absolutely have to watch because I don't know what happened. I genuinely
I don't think it was like planned. I literally think that I think Henare like did a headbutt and did he was just, I think he was trying to do like a worked headbutt, but he did it too much, and he did strike Nichols a little bit, if I recall, and I could be completely off base here. And then Nichols just went with it, like being a good worker. He's like, "Fuck it, sure, I'll headbutt you."
Kicked into another gear.
Yeah.
It was
this was incredible, and not only that, Mikey, he like after he does it, he's got like the wide. He's like, yeah, you're gonna headbutt me, you fucker. This was so awesome. And this is the reward for the completionists. Like, this is why you watch the whole G1. This is why you watch the whole round robin tournament, because you get little highlights like this that are just like, wow, I am so glad I watched that, and I'm very glad I watched that. Okay. I hope they keep it up too. Like this. I mean, seriously, all it takes is a spark like that. And if Henare and Nichols decide to both be fucking wild men in this tournament, if Nichols is, being a killer against someone like Shingo or Eddie Kingston or even Coughlin, right? Or not Coughlin. I guess Coughlin's not in his block, but Shingo or Kingston, like that's exciting. That's really good. It could just be a throwaway match. So I love this. This is great.
I mean, I just made the point that these two guys are ones that you kind of like the guys that you could probably skip over if you weren't a completionist. Now, if you've seen this match, you're going to go into, you're going to go in and looking forward to seeing, okay, can they keep this up? I think on for Henare anyway, he's kind of got the layup to absolutely knock it out the park. His next match, I believe, is Shingo, who obviously is already.
And I mean, they had
this year. So the ball is very much in his court.
And it's the main event, isn't it? Or no, it's semi-main.
I think it might be semi-main, but it's
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good spot. It's a good spot for them. Is it? Where the fuck? When are they wrestling? Am I stupid?
Oh
no, yeah. Tomorrow? Oh, it's tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. It is not. It's third from the top. But man, I'm really looking forward to that one. Okay, let's continue here. We still got a lot to get to. Alex Coughlin versus Shane Haste. Coughlin continued. He essentially did a lot of the same stuff that Gabe did the previous day, portraying themselves as kind of unhinged. Haste won with the Bomb Valley Death on chairs while the official was distracted. So, but he was like the baby face because Coughlin introduced the chairs. So this wasn't anything crazy. Okay. This was a lot of people's one of their most anticipated matches of the tournament. Shingo Takagi versus Eddie Kingston. This is pretty much exactly what you would expect from these two. Just hard-hitting action from start to finish. And Kingston got a huge win here, winning clean with the Northern Lights bomb.
Yeah, I love this match. I think I do definitely think that they've got a better one in them, and I think they tease that at the end as well. I think Eddie kind of made mention of maybe all in or all out, whatever one. I mean, Shingo's going to be there that weekend for in Wembley. So it's definitely something they could go with. But yeah, just like you said, pretty much what you'd expect in terms of these two big suplexes, hard hitting strikes. I love Ed. I just love Eddie Kingston in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it just feels right. You know what I mean? That's kind of like his whole thing is that's where he kind of wants to be, and it's good to see him in the G1 and with the big match to kick it off. So yeah, good stuff.
Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. This was a great technical match. This was, and I thought this was the best Tanahashi has looked in months. Sabre has been one of New Japan's 5 most consistent wrestlers all year, top to bottom. And then he won when he the finish was funny. He rolled up Tanahashi while Tanahashi had an armbar locked in, and the old man wouldn't let go of the armbar all stubbornly. So Sabre got the pin. But this was really fun, and these two just have unbelievable chemistry. They could sleepwalk their way through a great match.
Yeah, I love this one too. I think the style that Zack Sabre Jr. works with, that obviously the very, very technical wrestling and stuff. I think it served well to like hide some of the physical limitations that Tanahashi's dealing with. Just in terms of like the way he was able to sell stuff and the way Zack's able to capitalize on just like even like real life, the issues that Tanahashi's facing in there in terms of physical stuff. I think it was very well worked, and just more good stuff. Nice win for Zack, and I'm predicting Zack to kind of make it out of his block. Perhaps I think that D block doesn't have too many big time contenders, and you would assume that Tanahashi is kind of past the point now where he's going to be making out the block. Maybe he could surprise me, but I think Zack's will have to make it out there.
Evil versus Tamatonga. This was literally exactly what you would expect. Just lots of House of Torture bullshit. Crowd was not as hot as I thought it would be for this. And then Evil won with Everything is Evil after a low blow. This Evil will not win that much in this tournament, but he as long as he is the House of Torture, he will literally always win night one because they will always have the heel, like, goofball crazy person win on night one. Okay. Main event was Tetsuya Naito versus Jeff Cobb. I thought this was a very good main event. Not blow away, but I thought it was very good. Cobb's continuing to show more personality, in my opinion, and he won, pulled off the upset with the Tour of the Islands.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Nothing like kind of incredible or anything, but just like a solid main event. The Cobb picking up the win kind of sets up Naito to go on a bit of a run later. For sure. He's a lot of people's favorite for the whole thing. So I think it wasn't too surprising to see him pick up an early loss to kind of give him that setback, and he's gonna have to claw it back. But just solid stuff, and I like both these guys. So the match was pretty nice.
All right, and then today, we had day 3. I'm not going to go through. I mean, I'll read the results, and then I thought this was the weakest night thus far, and I think a lot of people kind of expected it to be the weakest night thus far. It's just not the most like exciting venue, and the match lineup wasn't that great. And starting tomorrow, they move to Sendai, which is a much more traditional like audience for them, and should have better shows. But this was the most just a show like I think you'll get on a G1 show, at least now. So Kaito beat Chase Owens. Kaito's got 4 points, 2-0 to start. Kenta beat Great Okan. This has horrible reviews, and I agree. I just thought it sucked. I just thought it was just terrible. It was so boring,
like a snail's pace.
Yeah. Gabe Kidd beat Hikuleo in 3 minutes. A lot of the same stuff. Taichi beat Tongaloa. Again, nothing special here. Taichi starts out 2-0. This is when started getting in some good matches. Ren Narita and Yota Tsuji again. So two matches, 2 time limit draws for Narita. Obviously, again against one of the Reiwa Musketeers. I think it's a fun little quirk, a fun little story that they're telling, that none of them are ahead of the other in terms of that. I probably would have booked it. I probably would have had Tsuji beat Shota. Sorry, Shota beat Tsuji, but lose to Narita, and then Tsuji beat Narita. That's probably the triangle I would have gone here, but I like the quirk here.
Yeah, no, I like the match. I don't think this match was quite as good as the Ren versus Shota match, but I think it did a good job in establishing like the tension between the two. Obviously, Tsuji did the little Shibata pose. He's kind of poke fun at Narita for being a Shibata clone, as a lot of people have kind of made that comparison. But I thought it was okay.
This was the best match on the show coming up here. Ospreay beat Yoshihashi in 13 minutes. He debuted a new finisher, the Leap of Faith. That dude loves Assassin's Creed so much.
I love it too.
but yeah, this was really good, and you knew it was going to be really good. Ospreay, as long as he's in there with a guy who's just like a worker and isn't anybody who does any shenanigans or anything like that, it's practically guaranteed to be a great match. And that's what we got with Yoshihashi. This was, I thought, far and away the best match on this show.
Yeah, I mean, Will Ospreay said it a ton. He's probably one of the top 3 best wrestlers in the world. You can make the case that he's number 1, pretty much. But and then Yoshihashi, I think he's great when paired up with like top level guys. I think he always kind of shows out in these. I think there's a few fun matches for him there in this tournament. So yeah, just like by far the best match on this show, because it wasn't anything spectacular in terms of the overall match quality here, but definitely a fun one. And it's nice seeing Ospreay still hitting like the spectacular high flying moves, because there's been talk about like and you see with a few of the top guys wrestling today that like they're pretty banged up and I don't know how many more of these like indie shows I can do and stuff, and then he busts out like a finish like that.
Yeah,
like, he's fine.
He's fine. It's Ospreay. Ospreay's gonna do whatever he wants until he ends up retiring. The next we had Sonata defeating Shota Umino in 19 minutes. Part of the story here was that they did sort of stall a little bit at the beginning, and they sort of teased the time limit draw at the end, but they didn't go for it. Sonata won clean here.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Like nothing too spectacular, but it's nice seeing Shota in the mix there with Sonata, and pushing him towards that time limit. I think kind of establishes him as a future guy. I wouldn't mind seeing an IWGP title match between those two in the future. And yeah, just solid.
And then the main event here, Kazuchika Okada defeated El Phantasmo. A little bit of upset alert here. I think some people thought ELP might get the victory over Okada, but they stuck with it, and Okada is 2-0 to start things out. This has pretty good ratings on Cage Match right now. I didn't think it was quite that good. I just, it's the final few minutes were really good.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. Some of the early crowd work was quite fun. Obviously, ELP's trying to get the crowd on his side, and
when ELP did the heart to the crowd, I laughed at that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. He started the chant. Where was it that they were after the show? Was it Yamagata?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and he like starts the chant for there, and then he's he's like the opposite of like the sports team bad heel. He's like, I love this city.
He's the opposite.
And Okada's just like pissed off. And there was a really great near fall towards the end, but it was definitely
good. Yeah, he did hit the CR2, and Okada kicked out of it. That was a close one there.
Yeah, a lot of those rave reviews are kind of like based off that closing stretch, which was good, but match was like it was okay.
All right, I'm going to very quickly go through. There are going to be 4 G1 shows between now and the next time we record. So tomorrow, yes, it is Hinare all caps according to Cage Match, which is fine by me. Tomorrow, the big stuff is Shingo versus Hinare, Goto versus Naito, and Ishii versus Tamatanga in the main event. That match could be really good. Let's see here. 2 days later, on Friday, we have if anybody's going to get a great match out of Kenta, it's Will fucking Ospreay. Then we also have Kaito versus Shota, Okada versus Taichi, and Sonata versus Yota Tsuji, a Dominion main event rematch in the main event.
Some fun matches there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Then on Sunday, we have, let's see here. Ishii versus Shingo, of course. Two of the wrestlers with the best chemistry in the world. Tanahashi versus Jeff Cobb, and the main event is fucking insane. It's going to be so stupid. David Finlay versus Evil. We'll see.
Is that where we're going to get the start of the Civil War, Parker?
Yeah, the Civil War. The what everybody's trying to see right now.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have Korakuen. They always a week from today, it's at Korakuen. They always do Korakuen shows. There's always a fun opener. So Ospreay versus Great Okan is that opener. That should be enjoyable. And then the semi-main and main are Okada versus Yoshihashi. Should be great, just like we were talking about. And Sonata versus Kaito Kiyomiya should have a ton of drama and heat around it. So big time Korakuen Hall main event there. So got all that to look forward to. We'll be recapping all of it at this time next week. All right.
It's a busy time.
It's a busy fucking time. Not only that, we got Stardom and we got DDT this weekend. So should we talk about that? Let's talk a little DDT. All right. I'll just go over the card, and then I do want to talk about some AAA here as well. And we'll recap TripleMania, and then I have a segment that I think people will enjoy. But DDT this weekend, it is Wrestle Peter Pan, which is, gosh, I'm forgetting where it's from now. Is it from Ota Ward? I feel like it's bigger than that.
Not too sure.
Someone in the chat will tell me. I should know off the top of my head, but regardless, it's one of their best show. Not one of their best. Oh no, it's from Sumo Hall. Yeah, so this is a big show. The main event is the big match that everybody's talking about. It is Yuji Hino defending the KOD Openweight Championship against the King of Gate winner, Chris Brooks. If you're a DDT fan, I think a lot of people have been anticipating Chris Brooks winning the title at some point, and conquering somebody like Yuji Hino feels like a big one for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I'm like super locked into DDT right now, but I did catch a little bit of that King of Gate run from Chris Brooks, and he had some good stuff in there. I really like Yuji Hino stuff. I thought his title match when he got that belt was pretty good. So it should be an interesting one. Again, I'm not super locked in, so I don't know the full kind of like story behind everything, but I think it'll be an interesting one. And I do kind of like, as an outsider, I would anticipate Chris Brooks picking up that win.
I would too. DDT shows are always epics. There's 12 matches on this show, but I think the top 5 matches are the ones that I'm looking forward to. So I'll go in reverse order here. Tetsuya Endo is going to be defending the DDT Universal Championship against Matt Cardona, who's, I believe, bringing Steph DeLander along with him. That's an interesting one.
Oh, goody.
We'll see about that. I mean, Matt Cardona's a big name. I mean, he's a big star. So to get him at Sumo Hall, it's so weird. This match is one that I'm really looking forward to. Third from the top, Harimao, Kazusada Higuchi, Yuki Ishida, and Ryota Nakatsu against Eruption, obviously formerly Kazusada Higuchi's stable, Yukio Sakaguchi, Hideki Okatani, and Saki Akai in one of her final DDT matches for the DDT 6-man titles. This one should be really strong and emotional, and a really great environment too for this.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Saki Akai, again, someone who doesn't watch a ton of DDT, is always one of my highlights. Obviously, we see her in a little bit in TJPW too as Saki-sama, but I'm going to be sad to see her kind of like bow out from pro wrestling. So I'm looking forward to catching anything she does on this final run. So I will definitely be tuned in for that one.
And then we have 2 big-time special singles matches. Daisuke Sasaki will take on El Desperado. It's recently come out that Desperado's a free agent, so he's been working a lot of, doing a lot of free agent stuff, working a lot of different shows. And then Konosuke Takeshita versus Yuki Ueno, a newly christened heel in Takeshita, going back to DDT for the first time since aligning with Don Callis. I'd be interested to see if Callis is with him, but he and Ueno have a ton of history together. And this is a big time match. So I think it's a really good card towards the top, and I'm looking forward to it. It's fucking Sumo Hall. It's like, how can you not look forward to Sumo Hall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely one I'm interested in checking out again as someone I've not been locked in, but I will absolutely be watching this show.
It's just unfortunate that it's on the same day as 5-Star GP Day 1 and a G and a G1. Show.
That's like we said, with a very busy schedule. That's what you get with some of these, scheduling conflicts. It's tough to catch everything, man.
By the way, not to mention, there's also an All Japan show on that day that has Kento and Yuma defending the tag titles against Minoru Suzuki and Hokuto Omori. There's also Lindemann versus Ryo Inoue for the junior title. Yuji Nagata and Shuji Ishikawa against each other in tag action. There's going to be a tornado bunghouse electric current blast death match on the show. And there's also Suwama versus Yuma Anzai, babyface Suwama. So there's going to be no bullshit. Like, that's a great All Japan show too. They also have, Noah's got Go Shiozaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima on opposite sides of a main event tag match as well. Oh my gosh, what a freaking, that's Sunday? That's a crazy fucking day. So anyway, to the 22nd, it'll be an early show. Yuma Aoyagi will defend the All Japan Triple Crown Championship against Hokuto Omori at Korakuen. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's get into AAA. Did you watch TripleMania this weekend, Jamie?
So
Did you catch it?
I caught the final 3 matches.
Fine by me. I'm going to just briefly recap the early stuff. La Hiedra won the Copa TripleMania. She won it with help from Mr. Iguana, which is stupid, but she did. Good for her. Copa TripleMania is like the Stardom Rumble or like the New Japan Rambo. Mm-hmm. It's just like getting people on the show. There was 6-woman tag match with just random. There's Team Mexico versus Team Rest of the World. Nothing happened. It was boring. There was a garbage 6-man tag match with Vampiro and Pagano on either side. They're feuding. It went to a note contest. Vampiro got injured early on in the match and subsequently couldn't do anything. And then Commander and Ares ran down at the end of the match and just like beat everyone up for no reason. So like AAA had the money to fly in Commander and Ares, but they didn't put them in a match. No, they just had them do a run in. And then an 8-man tag. The best thing I can say about this was that Brandon Moreno was there. He slapped it. He slapped an armbar on Daga. That was pretty funny. But it's Baja versus Chilango and Psicosis. Now Nicho Millonario, because there is a Psicosis in AAA. And Negro Casas are feuding. So that's that. So the ambulance match was Pentagon Jr. against QT Marshall. QT got the win. There were light tubes, there were tables, there were chairs. There's a lot of there were thumbtacks. There's a lot of shit in this match. A lot of blood, but QT picked up the win, Jamie.
He certainly did. This was an interesting match. I think is the best way I can phrase it. Like you said, there was a lot of a lot of plunder. there's a great little clip I've seen of QT smashing that light tube over Penta's head. That's kind of been doing the rounds. But yeah, I didn't think it was anything like crazy. I've seen like very mixed reviews of this. I didn't think it was anything too crazy. I thought the weapon stuff was fun, as is the case when you have a lot of these crazy stuff involved. But I don't think the work was anything like spectacular in terms of like the in-ring stuff. I'm not like super high on QT Marshall as an in-ring wrestler. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah, like for what it was, it was a laugh. Which is all I can ask from this sort of match. It was okay.
This would have been so much better if it was just a straight up like hardcore match and they do all the same. Like the ambulance like the first time they went and wrestled around the ambulance, the cameras straight up couldn't like see them. They somehow didn't plan to actually film the ambulance until during the match. Like I don't understand. Like this is why people make fun of Lucha Libre and Triple. Like it's not fair because CMLL is pretty competent in terms of their production and booking generally, but if a little uninspired. But I mean, yeah, there was some good action in this one, and QT I think is a great heel. And Penta is one of the best baby faces in Mexico, but it just wasn't. It wasn't what it could have been. We had the Guerra de Rivalidades final match that went to a draw, and so essentially, the booking coming in was that the losing tag team will face each other in an apuesta match, a hair versus mask or whatever match at TripleMania, right? At TripleMania Mexico City, which is in a few weeks. This was Psycho Clown and Sam Adonis versus LA Park and Roosh. Instead of having a team lose, they just had them like get pinned at the same time, and so now they're going to do a 4-way match because the teams couldn't stop fighting like infighting. So they're going to have people do the 4-way apuesta match at TripleMania, which Sam Adonis will lose and he will get his hair cut off.
Yeah. Bald Roosh going to the Fed now. That on the card.
Yeah.
I've been it's some interesting discourse in the last couple of hours.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't love this match.
I actually thought this sucked. Like a lot of people, there are a lot of lucha brawls that end up being really good. I didn't think this was good at all. It was just the respective partners like fighting each other, and it was like the least motivated I've seen Rouge in a long time. And Sam Adonis, he works really hard, and you can tell he loves being in AAA, but he's just not. Like, it's Sam Adonis, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to set the world on fire. I thought this was pretty bad, to be honest.
Yeah, like the idea was there, but just nothing.
Right.
There's just nothing to it.
Right. And then the main event. This was the one very good match on this show. Hijo del Vikingo got a clean win over Kenny Omega in his successful retention of the AAA Mega Championship. I thought this was really good.
Yeah, this was a great match. It wasn't quite to the level of what I thought the Dynamite match was.
Agreed.
I think the Dynamite match was more just like chaotic, like Vikingo, go out and get all your shit in.
Yeah, it was just spot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I think I've seen some people who've preferred this one. I think this one kind of like leaned more into kind of character stuff, and I think Kenny Omega healed it up at times. I liked the bit where he kind of had Vikingo's kind of mask on, and he was parading around in it. But it was a slightly different dynamic. And yeah, Vikingo with a clean win, which I think I was expecting him to win, but I was definitely expecting a Don Callis.
He was there. Yeah, like that was, and then. So this is what happens, like, because Conan is such a fucking mark for himself. He flies Don Callis down to AAA, and what he does is he books himself as the babyface authority figure who's like, you cannot interfere in this match, Don Callis, and then he doesn't, just to get himself a pop. Like, stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he got the clean win. I did not anticipate the clean win, and I was happy. I mean, a lot of it was obviously, I think, Omega conserving himself a little bit for Blood and Guts, which is this Wednesday, of course. Tomorrow, it'll be going on like in 24 hours. I'm excited. Okay, so we have the card for TripleMania 31, Mexico City, Ciudad de Mexico. I'm just gonna read it, and then I'm gonna go over 11 reasons why this is so fucking stupid. All right, this card is terrible. It's a women's match. Dalis, Lady Shiny, and Sexy Star 2 versus La Hiedra, Maravilla, and Chick Tormenta. Commander, Laredo Kid, Ares, a lot of other talented people in the fucking Copa TripleMania. Taya Taya Valkyrie defends the Reina de Reinas title against Flammer. Nicho and Millonario, again, that's Psicosis from ECW, and Negro Casas in a singles match. A four-way match for the Latin American Championship. It's vacant. Pentagon Jr. versus QT Marshall versus Dralistico versus Brian Cage. That should be pretty good. Hijo del Vikingo versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus Daga versus Jack Cartwheel for the Mega Championship. And then the main event will be the Apuesta match, Roosh versus LA Park versus Sam Adonis versus Psycho Clown. Loser will either lose their mask or their hair. And again, if there's betting odds on this somewhere, bet everything you own on Sam Adonis being the one to lose. So I'm going to go over why this is stupid. Oh, and by the way, I have a little bonus one before we even get started, because I really have 10 reasons, but here's my bonus 11th one before we get started. Did you guys know that AAA Verano de Escándalo is happening this weekend, which is normally like one of their 3 most important shows of the year? And this year it's just a bullshit show that nobody cares about that has Alberto El Patron in the main event. Because yeah, that's what's happening. That's AAA. Oh, very briefly, I have a message from Murph as well. Everyone should watch King of Gate, okay? And also, Conan is a terrorist for killing one of my favorite North American promotions. They had the most watched match of all time in North America, and now they are shit. It's true. It's true. Fucking Conan. Okay, so here's my criticisms. Number 1, and this is kind of going in order of the card. All right. So La Hiedra won Copa TripleMania, right? She wins the TripleMania Cup and subsequently gets put in a 6-woman tag in the next show. By the way, other people who are in this year's TripleMania Cup include like Taurus and Laredo Kid and other big names, right? She doesn't get a title match. Flammer does, though. Just Flammer, right? Ares and Commander are the tag champs, and they have never defended those tag champs. I just want to point that out. They have literally never defended them. And they're just in Copa TripleMania. So again, they are being booked to come to Mexico and are not in a tag match. They're just in the TripleMania Cup. Again, they have never defended their championships and will not defend their championships through TripleMania season. The number 2 rivalry in AAA all summer has been Pagano versus Vampiro. Everybody thought we were going to get a hardcore match here between Pagano and Vampiro. Guess where Pagano is in this show? He's in the fucking TripleMania Cup! And Vampiro's not even on the show! So what? What's happening? What's the point? They're not even going to do the rubber match this year. And Vampiro, by the way, is garbage. So it's like, why even bother? Pagano's good. Taya is defending her title on this show. She has defended her title once in the last 9 months. Once in the last 9 months. Okay, so here's good. Nicho El Millonario and Negro Casas is the one actual, like, decently built match on this show. The only problem is their combined age is 115. Okay? That's a problem. That should not be the case. Number 6. I'm going through these reasons, all right? The 4-way for the Latin American title, number 1, it features 2 non-Latin American wrestlers and 0 AAA signed wrestlers. This title was won by Phoenix over a year ago. He never defended it once. Never once. And then he vacated it because he said he doesn't want to do AAA anymore. But his brother's in it.
They're going to do the exact same thing with this because none of them are signed.
Yes, exactly. Like, nope, whoever wins this title will never lose this title. Mike Bailey is wrestling for the mega title. He has not wrestled in AAA since 2015 when he was a no-name, and he is immediately getting a mega championship match. Let's go through the other 2, shall we? Jack Cartwheel is a jobber. He gets pinned a lot and is competing for the mega title. And then finally, Daga. Let's talk Daga. Tessa Blanchard's former hubby? Current? I can't remember. Do you want to know AAA viewers' last image of Daga on this show? On this weekend's show? It was him tapping out furiously to Brandon Moreno. And he's subsequently getting a mega championship match. He lost, and then Moreno beat the shit out of him and tapped him out. And now he's in the world title match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my days.
The last reason here, the Apuestas match, so they did this tournament, right, with all these teams of rivals to build to the Apuesta match. They completely invalidated the point of the tournament by making it a 4-way. Like, why even book the tournament if you were just going to do the 4-way? Like, what? Just do the 4-way then. Like, what? And then in addition, it's Sam Adonis. Like, out of all the talented wrestlers in and out of Mexico you could lose in the main event, you can really put up some money and get a big draw in this main event to have somebody lose. There's 2 masked guys in the tournament. Neither of them are going to lose their mask, like, ever. Roosh is not going to lose his fucking hair. He's signed to, or was signed to, a major American promotion. So the match is already spoiled, like, more than normal. All right. Like, this is the most pathetically, like, incomprehensibly booked show I can remember in a long time. And I hope that's coming through to the live chat. Like, how absolutely preposterous the booking is for AAA. And it's so frustrating because, Jamie, I love Lucha Libre so much.
Yeah, me too.
And I want it to be so good, but it just sucks.
Because we're in agreement. I think Murph is too. That when it's good, it's the best. Right?
It's the best.
It's so good.
I just can't do anything. Anwar Starwin, $5 super chat. I'm glad this show exists. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Anwar. This is why I do it. I genuinely appreciate that. It helps me get through my AAA fucking nightmares of this promotion. And it's funny because, like, a few years ago, and I sort of talked about this on Twitter if you follow me on Twitter, but a few years ago, AAA had a TripleMania where the production was just fucking preposterous. Like it was so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Stryker was on commentary. He didn't know what was going on, and Vampiro was the color guy, and he like ripped ass on camera and was like yelling at people to like play his music and shit like that, like calling spots for himself while on commentary. And so as a result, AAA got this reputation of being like a really incompetent promotion that's like goofy, make fun of it, whatever. In the meantime, during the pandemic, because they have people like Vikingo and Laredo Kid, who were their two champions for a long time. Vikingo was, well, I guess Vikingo wasn't champion at the time. Vikingo was their most featured guy. He was essentially their top presented star. And they also had Laredo Kid, who was Latin American champion, I believe. Or he was cruiserweight. I mixed them up because they're like the same. Yeah. Dago was one of them, and Laredo Kid was the other one. And they were putting on great matches. Like they would have like Ares in there and Aramis and Tuxin and Latigo and Taurus and you know, they'd sometimes bring in Pentagon and Phoenix and always Vikingo, right? And it was just like, wow, there are some really talented wrestlers in this promotion that if they just like pushed them for a little bit, they could really be something. And despite that, everybody's like, ha, AAA, so stupid and bad. And I'm like, no, dude, it's actually been really good. And when they do the big brawls at big shows like Blue Demon Jr. and Dr. Wagner and all that stuff, and Psycho Clown is so over. And I'm like, this is great, you guys. And then as soon as people start coming around, all the reactions to this are like, oh man, this show was a lot of fun. I'm like, what? No, it wasn't. This show sucked. This show fucking sucked. The main event was good and everything else was pretty fucking bad. So anyway, I talked for a long time about Lucha Libre. I'm sorry, Jamie, but
no, yeah, I think it was very deserved. I mean, you know, listening to that to that very well put together list of problems with this upcoming TripleMania, I mean, you kind of hit every nail there. It really is something what they're doing with this show, man. And just
to be clear, I love Lucha Libre, and I do love most of the wrestlers in AAA. Vikingo, Psycho Clown, Roosh, all like even the mid carders. I love like the women are genuinely pretty talented. Like Flammer's pretty good. Hydra's okay, you know, people like that. But even some like the undercard guys like Nino Hamburguesa is so popular. The people just love him, right? And he makes for entertaining matches a lot of the time. Mr. Iguana, same thing. Like super entertaining, right? The people just love him. But they just don't capitalize on this shit at all. They just book the same shit that they think is going to be. There's either no foresight behind it, or there's or the stuff that there is foresight behind is like it's bad. Like it's booking a match between 115-year-old people, right? So I don't know. Okay, that's going to be it for Lucha Libre talk. Brief updates for King of Gate and for TJPW. I know you haven't watched these yet, so I'm just going to briefly give the updates here. We have the quarterfinals for both. Well, we have 3/4 of the quarterfinals for TJPW, and we have the full quarterfinals for King of Gate. Let me see if I can find the actual tweet I made. Okay, so quarterfinals for King of Gate are going to be this Saturday. It'll be Big Boss Shimizu and Susumu Mochizuki, and then the champ Madoka Kikuta will be against Shuji Kondo. Then a week later, it'll be Dragon Dia versus Hyo and Yuki Yoshioka versus Kota Minoura. That latter match is interesting because it's a rematch of the Kobe World Finals from last year. Main event, I should say. So that should be a lot of fun. My pick is Big Boss Shimizu. I think he's going to win this tournament. And then in TJPW, the matches that are set, I actually like went ahead of myself and I just put in what I think are going to be the quarterfinal matches in the match guide. But we have Miyu Yamashita versus Moka Miyamoto, Miyu Watanabe versus Yuki Kamifuku, Shoko Nakajima versus Rika Tatsumi, which should be great, by the way. That was the, I think, Summer Sun Princess main event last year, and it was really excellent. And then Yuki Arai versus Arisu Endo is my pick for the quarterfinals. Arisu Endo could lose to Mahiro Kiryu, I guess, but I think they'll go with Endo, and I'm pretty sure they'll go with Arai as well. Still hoping for that Miyu versus Miyu final. I
Yeah,
think
that's the one.
Pink Miu versus Pink Miu is the way to go.
Mhm. Yeah, that was the one that stood out as soon as they revealed the brackets. So,
and hopefully Miu Watanabe gets the win. Like I
Yeah.
still, I'm hoping for it. But again, I will never be disappointed if Miu Yamashita wins a big tournament.
mhm.
All right, finally, Jamie-san, I think it is time. That time of the show where I stall for a little bit and then I find the graphic, the beast of the week.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on, because we missed a very, very, very important.
Oh my God! How did I skip?
I was about to say, I was like,
what am I doing?
This is like one of the matches of the year. What's going on? It's Kento. It's your
So
guy.
that should illustrate how fucking busy it is
Yeah.
during Pro right now, because we had maybe the match of the year this weekend in the main event of Corkin Hall at Noah, One Night Dream. I'm so sorry, IDEK. I'm so sorry, Laz. They were so sad. We voted Kento as wrestler of the week at WrestlePurist. He retweeted the tweet. He was very happy about it.
I didn't even see that. That's great.
Yeah, but we had the Kensuke office vibes. The chosen son and the forgotten son of Kensuke Sasaki in Nakajima and Kento, respectively, and they wrestled for 34 minutes in maybe the best. I think that. So here's the thing. I think this match was incredible, and I think it's borderline 5 stars for me. I do not think it was one of the 3 best matches of the year. I thought it was incredible though, but I will say this: I think you will be hard pressed to find a match environment better than Nakajima versus Kento. I mean, Kento is we watch so much Corkin Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kento is the most over wrestler in Corkin Hall in Japan right now, right? Like it has to be. The crowd just comes unglued when he's out there. And when you match him up against Nakajima, who is like the complete opposite in terms of his matches, right? His matches are frequently very quiet, and not in a way that they're not over, but just in like they're violent, and they sometimes follow a non-traditional structure and things like that. And when you combine those two dynamics, not to mention the fact that they're 2 of the top guys in their respective promotions, and they have all this, they have 15 years of history between each other. Oh my God, what a match. Jamie, putting it over to you.
Where to start? It was spectacular. You kind of mentioned there that you don't think I'm kind of in agreement with the in-ring stuff, like just purely as a match. There's maybe a few, 1 or 2, maybe 3 matches that.
If I could briefly interrupt, I think Joe put it really well in his review. Joe Holbert in his match guide for the week. He said that it was perfect for the first time match in that they left enough that you want to see this rematch at some point. And I think they nailed that.
Yeah, that's just like, it's like scary to think about it. It's like some people's match of the year, maybe second, and you can safely say that they were holding back a little bit. That's how good these 2 guys are. And God, the atmosphere was like incredible. Kento Miyahara in Corkin Hall is like a god amongst men.
he's literally my favorite wrestler in the world right now. I just love him.
He's spectacular, and Nakajima as well, because we talked a lot about Kento Miyahara on this podcast quite a few times. I love Nakajima. I've said it a ton, that he is like his title reign with the GHC heavyweight title kind of dragged me back into Noah. I was kind of like I wasn't watching too much at the time, and I think that goes. A lot of people are in a similar boat. I know a lot of people were tuning into Noah at the time when Nakajima had that belt, and he's spectacular. He's throwing these super hard hitting strikes, and he's got like this sadistic grin on his face, and it never once appears like you see a few guys who do it and like they throw the kicks and they're like it's a little bit much, but Nakajima, like you believe it. He's like a sick bastard, but when he's doing it, he like enjoys every single one, and Kento just standing up to it and just taking it and then dishing out some more. It's amazing. I think I would agree with Joe's assessment of slotting it in between the 2 Omega Ospreys. I think in terms of the in-ring work, I would probably say the Omega Osprey ones would have it beat just as like a match quality. But when you add in all the the stuff with the atmosphere just the feeling behind the match. I think it carries it a lot. And like you said, there's going to be probably more meetings between these two in the future. And the fact that they were saving stuff is incredible. I wonder how high they can reach with another meeting. So just spectacular.
So here's the exciting thing: we may actually not get the singles match between them. The rubber match rematch, at least not like immediately.
Yeah.
However, it seems pretty damn likely that we will get a tag title match at some point in All Japan. And if it is Kento Miyahara and Yuma Aoyagi against Katsuhiko Nakajima and Go Shiozaki for the All Japan tag titles, are you kidding me? Come on, get out of here.
I would
That's
be like
crazy.
I would be like astounded if that isn't like the tag team match of the year.
Well, that's the thing that I wanted to shout out. If Kento, if this was one of your first times being exposed to Kento in a big way like this, I implore you to go back to, I think, January or February, one of the two. Go to Korakuen Hall. Kento Miyahara had a tag team match where he teamed with Takuya Nomura against Yuma Aoyagi and Naoya Nomura. And that, to me, I would probably say that I enjoyed that match more than Nakajima versus Kento. Like, I think that's one of the great tag matches like ever. It is the atmosphere is second to none, and the action is so hard hitting. It's just incredible. Please go back and watch that. Go back and watch everything with Kento, right?
Yeah, for me, for my money, he's my wrestler of the year right now. And that tag match that you mentioned with the Nomura brothers, when we did for the match ratings, obviously we can no longer, like a little peek behind the curtain, we can no longer break the scale. We must rate it maximum 5.
Right.
But back when that match happened, we could break the scale, and I did because it was so good. And there's been plenty more Kento Miyahara matches where if I was allowed to do so, I would probably have gone a little bit over 5 on this year. And he's incredible.
There is no wrestler in the world who is more important to his promotion than Kento Miyahara is to All Japan. Okay, now that we've gone about that, and I'm so glad that you remembered, because I had something I wanted to say regarding that. It is that time for the Beast of the Week. Jamie. Wow. I'm going to start with Murphs because he's not here. I don't know who this is. You're probably going to have to explain this to me. It seems like Norwegian of a name. His Beast of the Week is Christian Lundgaard. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
Christian Lundgaard.
Maybe it's F1. Christian.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well, let me find out. In the meantime, Jamie, do you have your Beast of the Week ready to go?
I do.
Yes, he is. He's an IndyCar racer. Okay.
I see. And after we've done my Beast of the Week, I have a little note that I want to add in. But I'll get to my Beast of the Week first.
Let's do it.
My Beast of the Week is all caps Hanare. I could give it to both guys, but I want to like highlight Hanare mainly just because I think TMDK are like pretty solid. I don't think Mikey Nichols like an incredible worker or anything, but in terms of like the comparison between both, Hanare, bar the very, very large outlier, which is the Shingo match, kind of like has never really done much of anything for me. And then he had like maybe the best match of the first 2 nights of the G1
against Mikey Nichols.
yeah, exactly. It wasn't even like it was the Shingo one again. It was like it was literally like no one had that pegged as anything to write home about. But and I love the new look. I think he looked great. And I'm just like shoe headbutt. He took that finish. Like he got spiked. And he's gonna get up and wrestle Shingo tomorrow. And he's just a guy that like went from one of the guys who I wasn't too keen on watching too many of the matches to being like, I'm locked into whatever he's going to do now. And like I said before, he's got the absolute best possible match to go into next to like keep that momentum going. So Henare, all caps, he is my Beast of the Week.
Okay. I'm going to break the rules a little bit because it was such a busy week. I have 3 that I want to shout out, all for wildly different reasons. I'm going to start with Mikey Nichols because he was the standout for me in that match out of the two. They were both awesome, right? But he just getting the wild man look, the hard way busted open off the shoot headbutts. That's the textbook definition of beast to me. All right. Yeah. Second, speaking of Lucha Libre, here's this thing. I actually do this thing where I watch CMLL, which like a lot of people don't do, right? Yeah. And there was a hair match on CMLL this past Friday. It was Rey Cometa and Espiritu Negro versus Dark Magic and Akuma. Okay. Dark Magic and Akuma won, so they won the hairs of Cometa and Espiritu. All right. Here's the thing. Dark Magic is fucking terrible. Okay. Dark Magic is a terrible wrestler. He's really bad at it. I don't know. He has a good physique, I guess. He's like kind of athletic, but he's awful. His partner, Akuma, essentially wrestled the match himself in a hair match in Arena Mexico, sold out Arena Mexico in front of 10,000 people by himself. Okay. He did everything. He did so much cool fucking shit in this match. He came across like a badass, and he won the hairs of two relatively protected guys in the process. So Akuma of CMLL is a beast. When you go above and beyond and you perform to the level of your audience and the where you're expected to be, even if you've never been there before, I think that is incredibly beast. Check that match out. Yeah.
All about.
Yeah. Check that match out if you haven't seen it. And then finally, my third choice. There's a promotion that is very near and dear to my heart that I have not paid very much attention to this year, and that is Ice Ribbon. And it is because I frankly don't think they have that many good wrestlers. Okay. They've lost so much over the last few years. But there was a title change this weekend for the Ice Cross Infinity Championship that floored me. I didn't think in a million years they were going to do this. The new Ice Cross Infinity champion is Yuri, fresh off of wrestling at Ganbare Pro and putting together a great performance in a big-time tag match at Ota Ward. She wins the title. She is the new top champion in Ice Ribbon. It was such an inspired booking decision. You have all these Joshi indies who are seemingly afraid to book over the young wrestlers. Marvelous finally did it with Mio Momono after forever. It took them to finally pull the trigger. But like Oz Academy never will. Seedling never will, right? This is...
Did you see this wasn't the only title change in the Joshi scene this weekend?
Well, Sendai Girls made a big one with Millie McKenzie. I mean, that was pretty wild here. But at least with Millie McKenzie, she's ex WWE and she's a foreigner.
She's established.
Yuri is so inspired. I think she is a really promising wrestler. She is not at the level of the top Ice Ribbon wrestlers of yore, but if she gets the fans behind her, like Saori Ano did last year, or someone like Yuki Mashiro has been able to, or Asahi, she can get to that level. So my three beats: Mikey Nichols, Akuma of CMLL, and Yuri, YUU, capital R, capital I in Ice Ribbon. Jamie, I'm curious what you were going to add, because I'm wondering if we're thinking the same thing, but you go for it.
Well, I want to preface what I'm about to say by 2 weeks ago, I believe it's 2 weeks ago, we introduced a new kind of, addition to the Dumb Guy Live law. we introduced the Hall of Beasts, and I don't want to overuse this too much. We don't need to do one of these every week because this is safe for the very, very top caliber.
Can I interrupt you really quick? Are you proposing that we induct Kento Miyahara into the Hall of Beasts?
I am.
Because that is literally what I was going to say too, Jamie. Are you kidding me? Right now, get out of town. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. You talk about it. You talk about your music.
I mean, I don't think we talk about one wrestler more than we talk about Kento Miyahara as highly as we do. I think I will say I have not been on this train for anywhere near as long as you have. You're very much someone who put me on.
I love All Japan. It's great.
After me. But just based on this year alone, I said already he's my wrestler of the year. The majority of it that I've seen this year has been like big time tag matches, and he's almost always the standout guy in it. And he's in there with some top guys. The current All Japan Triple Crown champion is right up there with him, Yuma Aoyagi. But he's spectacular. Like I said, just the absolute king of Korakuen Hall, and this match with Nakajima proved it more than ever, and just like delivers every single time. And like I don't know, I don't have like any more superlatives I can give him, but he's just the best right now. He is insanely good, and I think it's only right that I think he's a very, very fitting inductee into the Hall of Beasts.
I second everything you said. I think a great, when I think of like a great wrestler, if it's somebody who elevates everything they're in to just make it better than if it wasn't that wrestler, like there's practically no wrestler that embodies that standard more than Kento Miyahara. He is the epitome of an ace of a promotion. He is the epitome of a top guy. He's the epitome of a baby face, right? Because not only he wrestles kind of like a heel sometimes, and even with that, the crowd still loves him, right? He's just the best. He's just the best. So yes, I am complete agreement. The second inductee to the Hall of Beasts, Kento Miyahara. So with that, I think we should also name him and Nakajima our collective Beasts of the Week. And then as a result, now this is going to be the first time this comes into play. When you get inducted into the Hall of Beasts, you are retired from the Beast of the Week selection. You are not eligible any longer. Might not come into play with Okabayashi if he stays gone, but Kento Miyahara, we are operating under the assumption, Kento Miyahara, that you are going to be a beast every week here on out for the end of time. So that is that's the selection there. I love it, and I love that we both came to the same idea. That makes me so happy. Okay,
I mean, that just proves how worthy he is, right? It wasn't just like, well, we both knew it was time. It was overdue. from the moment that we created the Hall of Beasts, it was overdue.
Okay, so our Beasts of the Week: Hanare, Mikey Nichols, Akuma, Yuri, Kento Miyahara, Nakajima, and then the first inductee into the Hall of Beasts, or the second inductee into the Hall of Beasts, the first active inductee into the Hall of Beasts, Kento
and Murph's guy. I can't remember his name.
And Murph's guy, IndyCar wrestler, fucking Lundgaard, Christian Lundgaard. Sure, sounds good to me. Okay, hey, we went a little bit over time, but we had to get that stuff out about Nakajima and Kento. Yeah, there was a lot to do. Again, this time next week, we'll give you a G1 update. We're going to review the first night of the 5-star. We're going to review Wrestle Peter Pan. Probably more just like the final 5 matches or so. And I believe we'll have one half of King of Gate set. Let's see. Is there anything else? I mean, maybe we'll touch on a little bit of blood and guts, a little bit stuff like that. But the following weekend there is it's just more. It's more G1 and 5-star. It's that season. So yeah, not a lot in the preview sense, but a lot of reviews next weekend. So look forward to it. All right, thank you all so much for being here. We love you all. We will catch you next time, everybody. For Murph and for Jamie, stay dumb.